Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum. We are going at the area 3, in which this part we're going to involve the calculation of time study. Okay, labor standard, or we're doing the motion study. Okay, it's the amount of time required to perform a job or a part of job. Okay, this is where we do the calculation for the standard time. Once we know the standard time, then we can do the planning. Okay, what are the total time that we need to complete one unit of a product? And accurate labor standard have to determine the labor requirement. What are the costs? How many workers that we need? Okay, for the let's say for the month or for the next 6 months. Meaningful standard help to determine labor content. Okay, what are the tasks needed? Okay, the staff needed, how many workers you need, the cost, you can calculate the cost, and then expected production. Okay, what is the output, hourly output? Okay, in 1 hour, how many you can produce by having 4 employees, let's say. Okay, and then we can also know the efficiency of the employees and so on. Okay, these are the standard that these are the ways they set the standard. Okay, for the first one, using the historical data. Okay, this one is not a very a good way of setting the standard, because they are based on the previous person data. Okay, and then even though it's very cheap or very easy to get the information, but it's not accurate enough. Okay, so this is not recommended. Okay, time study. This is most commonly used by the manufacturer or the service provider, in which they are timing a sample of a worker perform. Okay, and they already have the standard that they have to follow. They have already the task to follow. Okay, remember in the plan layout, each workstation have assigned the task. Okay, task 1, task 2 in workstation 1. Okay, that one is the already predetermined the task for each workstation. And then requires trained and experienced observer. Okay, they equip with the stopwatch, okay, and so on. And they always collect data, many data, because the time of work is different. Okay, the person that involved with the task also they need to consider, and then also they need to make sure that the environment that provided for the workers is in a very normal condition. Okay, and the third way is predetermined time standard. Okay, this one they're using like standard for example, if for grasping the bolt, they have local standard. Okay, the standard that they set in the lab. Okay, so we just choose the task and then we calculate by using the standard. Okay, and this one in the lab usually, so they take the video and then they do it step by step. Okay, they cut the video into a different task and they do it in the slow motion to get the exact timing. Okay, but sometimes the standard is different between, if you have a different maybe male and female have a different time or different way of doing it. Okay, so they need to balance with the data, need to match what are the work tasks that you really do. Okay, and the final one is work sampling. This one is more common for the service. Okay, estimate percent of time of a worker spent on various tasks, because it involves lots of tasks in the service. Let's say for the salesperson, they in and out of the office and so on, so they need to use the work sampling. Okay, so in this part, we're going to deal with the time study. There's a calculation and also work sampling. Okay, these two we are not going to discuss. Okay, time study, to define the task to be studied. Okay, and then divide the task into elements. Okay, you have to cut it into a very detailed steps, and then how many time needs to measure. Okay, how many observation that you need to take, and then you need to record the time. Okay, and these are the formula that you need to use. Okay, so average observed time is the sum of the time recorded. Okay, usually they take more than 4 or 5 observation. Okay, for the calculation, more of 5 to 6 observation, but for the real life, sometimes you take more than 100 or 200 observation based on the sample size. And then determine the performance rating and normal time. Okay, so performance rating is always given. Okay, performance rating is based on the experience, okay, of the workers. And then observed time you get from here. And then you need to add all the normal time for all the tasks involved. And then you can compute the standard time. This is what we're looking for. The standard time means that the time they need to perform all the tasks. So anyone who do the task will follow the standard time. Okay, so the formula is total normal time. Okay, from this number 7, and you divide by 1 minus the allowance factor. Allowance factor is given. Okay, allowance factor involved with the rest allowance. Okay, we are human being, we are not machine, so we need time for break, for restroom, for water fountain, pergi minum air dan sebagainya. So we need 4% to 7%. And then sometimes they have to include the delay allowance because the delay is from the next process. Okay, and then fatigue allowance, especially when you're dealing with maybe a small parts assembly, okay, in which you need to use your eyes, okay, constraint. So you will get easily fatigued, tired compared to other tasks. So you need to add some more allowance, okay. So usually combination of this allowance, they need to add up to get the allowance factor. Okay, these are example. Okay, backlighting, okay, noise level, if too loud, you have to add more 2% and so on. Okay, these are the standard that they have set. Okay, let's look at the time study sample 1, example 1. Okay, observed time is already calculated for you. Okay, workers rating is 85%. And this one is also known as a performance rating. So anything below 100 is 100 is at par, means that the skill is normal. Okay, if you get below 100, maybe the skill for this worker is a bit low, and maybe the worker just introduced to the task. Okay, if the rating is more than 100%, means that the workers are very good doing the task. Okay, allowance factor is 13, so they already add up the rest allowance, okay, the personal, maybe some of the delay, and also some of the fatigue. So we start with the normal time. So average of the time is given times the rating factor, 85%, okay, 0.5, and we have 3.4 minutes. So from this, we convert to the standard time using this formula. So the normal time is here, 3.4 minutes, divided by 1 minus 0.13 is from the 13% allowance. So we get 3.9 minutes. Okay, these are the standard time. So anyone who doing this job or task, they need to perform within this time, 3.9 minutes. If they perform less than 3.9 minutes, it's very good. Okay, you are above the average. If you produce like 4.2 minutes, so you are not following the standard. Maybe you need more practice. Okay, let's look at this example when you have a set of data. Okay, allowance factor is given 15%. Okay, these are the factor rating that we need to use when we want to convert the observed time to the normal time. So 120 means that it's very good. Okay, the workers have a quite experience. Okay, and we have 3 elements, and then they make 5 observation. Okay, usually they need to make more observation. Okay, so when you get this set of data, first you need to delete unusual or non-recurring observation. Means that there's a very not normal, abnormal timing. Okay, for example, 8, 10, 9, and suddenly there's 21. What happened? Okay, maybe there's some disturbance. Okay, maybe somebody call the person, or the person need to go for a toilet break and so on. So this one we need to exclude. Okay, we cannot include it in the to calculate the average observed time. Okay, and then we have to do for every element. So this one is quite okay, nothing abnormal here. And this one, yeah, some is 5 is out of the range, so we have to eliminate. Okay, once we have cleaned the data, okay, which we need to exclude all the abnormal data, then we can compute the average time for each element. So for element A, the calculation is the average. So 8 plus 9, 8 plus 10 plus 9, and then plus 11 divided by 4 because we use only 4 data. For the B, we take all the data, so sum up all, divide by 5, and then for the C, we only take 4 data here and then divide by 4. So we have the average time for each element. Now we need to convert to normal time. Okay, when we want to convert to normal time, okay, this is our data. So this is the performance rating that we're going to use. So we take the observed, okay, the not observed time. For A, just now we calculate at 9.5, okay, times the 1.2, the performance rating. And then for B, we take the average time. For B just now is 2.2 times 1.05. And then the C is 1.5 from the observed time, and then times 1.1, okay, from this performance rating. So when we get the normal time, then we need to add up because standard time is only 1. Okay, this one we have 3 now. So we need to add up all the normal time. So we get 15.36. Then you can convert to the standard time. Okay, so the total normal time you get just now. Okay, 15.36. Divide by 1 minus allowance factor is 15. So 0.15. So you get 18.07. So to complete all the element, okay, A, B, C, you need 18.07 minutes. That's standard time. So anyone who doing the job, they need to follow this standard time. If you go below, you're very good. If you go higher or more than 18.07 minutes, then you need to go faster, so that you follow the standard time. Okay. Okay, now we need to determine the sample size. Okay, how accurate we want to be. So the sample size must be tally, okay, so that the data is considered as accurate. So it will involve with the level of confidence. Okay, this data is given, and how much variance exists within the job element. Okay, these are the formula. Okay, these are the formula for determine the sample size. Berapa banyak observation that you need to do. Okay, not just simply, oh, saya suka buat 5. No, it based on the certain information. Okay, so you need Z. Z is the number of standard deviation for the desired level of confidence. Okay, usually Z is from the percentage that they given, so we need to convert. So these are the normal value for Z. So depends. If the question gives you 90%, so you're going to use 1.65 for the Z value. Okay, as the standard deviation is already given, and H is the accuracy level, okay, acceptable error usually given in the question, and X bar is the average time. Okay, so observe average time. This formula you use when you have only one element or one task, but you have many observation. Okay, let's look at this example. Desired accuracy, they give 5%. Confidence level, they give 95%. Sample standard deviation, they give 1, and then sample mean, they give 3. So when we look at, because we're going to use the Z value, so we refer to this table. So 95% confidence level, 95% is 1.96. Okay, so from this formula, okay, so we need to, H is which one? H is the accuracy. Okay, so it becomes 0.05. X bar is the sample mean, 3. S is the standard deviation, 1. And then Z is from this table. For 95% is 1.96. So when we put all the information here, and then you square it, and then you can get the sample size. Okay, the sample size is 170.74. So since this is sample, so you need to round up. Okay, always to round up. So it's that you need 171 sample, okay, for the observation. And when you have more than one task involved, okay, more than one element involved, you will use this formula. Okay, usually H times X bar is replaced by E. E is the acceptance error. Is always given by the question. Okay. So next we look at the work sampling. Okay, in the work sampling, okay, this the fourth way, the work sampling is more on observe and record workers' activity. Usually this one is for service provider. Okay, and these are the formula. Okay, for the sample size is different from the time study. So the Z is the same. Okay, it's the standard normal deviation. Okay, so we did it from the table. And then p-value is the sample proportion. And H is the acceptable error. Okay, we look at this example. Estimate employees idle is 25% of the time. Okay, so this one is the P. This is p-value. P-value involved with the idle. Okay, in percentage. Sample should be accurate. So sample accuracy acceptable error is 3%. Okay, so it becomes 0.03. And then this is the confidence levels. So 95.45% is value is 2. Okay, from the normal table. So we plug in all the information. So we get 833 observation that we need to do. Okay, so from 833 observation, we need to do the category. Okay, so on the phone, okay, 485 observation. Okay, and then idle time 126, so not doing nothing. And then personal time, maybe if they're going for lunch and so on. And then this when you use work sampling, it doesn't involve with the time compared to time study. Yeah, they only use the percentage. So percentage of idle time is 126 observation of the person doing nothing. Okay, divide by plus 62. Okay, personal time, and divide by the total observation that they done is 833. So 22.6% is the idle time. Okay, since the target value is 25%, so the workload need to be adjusted. Okay, so maybe they need to reduce or to add more the certain activity. Okay. Alright, these are the sampling of work study. Okay, so if we compare salesperson, they're doing sales and they do lots of traveling and they do paperwork. Okay, lunch and personal, meeting and others, and then on the phone. Okay, most of the time they're on the phone. And we compare with the assembly line workers at the floor. Most of the time 67% is doing their job at the line, and then maybe they have some between tasks. Okay, the idle time. And then sometimes the machine down, so they're not doing anything, and then they do some cleanup before they go back. And then for the startup, for the starting, so they have exercise and so on. So it's totally different. So each job have a different time that they use, okay, on their daily work. And the work sampling is less expensive and then time study, because they don't have to get the time and on very accurate. Okay, and the observer also don't need to handle with all the stopwatch and all the table of getting the data. But the disadvantage, they doesn't divide the work into elements like time study. Okay, they just generally, okay, this is their break time, and then these are they're on the phone. So not exactly on the phone, maybe not sure for what. Okay, so they are not detailed as the time study, and sometimes it's biased. Okay, maybe during the certain days, the salesperson very busy, and certain days he have no job at all. Okay, so it's not a balance. The data is not really represent the whole activity. Okay, less accurate. That's the disadvantage of work sampling compared to time study. So the best thing is to have time study, because you can get the standard time. from word sampling, you don't get any standard time, but it's more on the roughly what are the ideal time, so that we want to make sure that the ideal time is not too high. It means that ideal time, pekerja tak buat apa. Yang tu kita risau. Okay. But for standard time, untuk time study is very detailed. Kita tahu untuk this job, dia perlukan berapa minit untuk siapkan. So, semua orang yang kerja buat job tu, dia kena follow the standard time. Okay, and don't forget that ethics. Ethics also important. Sometimes we have the standard time, we have all the description of the job tasks, but we need to consider. Sometimes is it fair to give the job for between male and female? Is it fair for OKU person? So we need to consider all this. If OKU person, you cannot use the same standard time, because standard time is for normal people. Okay. So maybe the time standard time you can use in Asia country, but in Europe they have different standard. So you need to consider all of this. Okay. And then also the working environment. Sometimes the working environment is not safe. They don't provide the proper PPE, but they do give you standard time. So you need to consider also. Standard time is that time that normal people doing it in the good condition or safe condition. That's the true meaning of standard time. Alright, so that's all from me. So we have covered the whole chapter. Okay, from the theory we start, and then we look at the job design, and then we look at the work measurement, okay, on the tools, the charts they are using, and the last part we do some calculation on the time study, determine the sample size, and finally we look at the work sampling. Alright, so I see you next time. Take care. Bye.